Human behavior during moments of intimacy can sometimes reveal feelings far more profound and complete than any words ever spoken aloud. The legendary Swiss psychologist and thinker Carl Jung asserted that true love is not merely a verbal expression. He believed it manifests unconsciously through an incredibly deep and vulnerable closeness between people. How a man gently embraces his partner, how his gaze penetrates the depths of her soul, or even how their breathing synchronizes in those exceptionally vulnerable moments can silently convey what truly lies in his heart. This naturally leads to a question. How does one distinguish superficial physical attraction from something much greater, from a genuine and profound attachment? Jung's ideas about the powerful unconscious point to 4 unmistakable signs, manifestations that, while seemingly subtle, possess incredible power and emerge only when a man experiences truly deep feelings. Jung taught that love is not just a fleeting emotion or a momentary sensation. It is a far more fundamental phenomenon, a fusion of souls, a process during which raw, unfiltered instincts and primal manifestations of human nature surface. When a man becomes emotionally attached, his body and mind begin to reveal truths he may not even fully realize himself. Today we will delve into the study of 4 intimate actions that, according to Jungian psychology, serve as irrefutable proof that his love extends far deeper than mere physical attraction. These actions are not ordinary habits or random acts. They are unconscious rituals of devotion, deeply rooted in the psyche. By the end of this discussion, everyone will know exactly what manifestations to look for to decipher true feelings. The first significant sign is deep eye contact that occurs during moments of true intimacy. In such a prolonged gaze, penetrating the very essence of intimate moments, there is something almost mystical, something that transcends simple physical attraction and reaches for the core of the emotional connection. The great thinker Carl Jung often called the eyes windows to the soul, and this assertion is deeply founded. In his extensive studies of the human unconscious, Jung recognized that the gaze represents one of the few involuntary pathways leading to an individual's innermost self. Unlike carefully chosen words, which can sometimes be used to deceive, eyes reveal truths that the mind may not yet be ready to accept. When a man holds another person's gaze during moments of vulnerability, it is not just an act of passion, it is an unspoken acknowledgement profound in its essence. He is not just looking, he is allowing himself to be seen, which is one of the deepest expressions of surrender and openness a person is capable of. Such prolonged eye contact is quite rare, as it requires an extraordinary level of emotional presence and involvement. Many men, raised according to societal expectations, learn to compartmentalize their emotions, separating them from each other. In their perception, intimacy can be detached from feelings, becoming a physical release rather than an act of genuine union. However, when a man is truly deeply in love, something transformative happens. The unconscious need for a true deep connection begins to overpower the ingrained habit of emotional detachment. His gaze lingers because at that moment he is not just physically open, he is emotionally exposed. Jung would undoubtedly argue that this is a manifestation of the anima, the inner feminine aspect of his psyche that craves depth, intimacy, and fusion. Thus, in this context, the eyes cease to be mere facial features, transforming into a bridge between two souls and not just two bodies. Conversely, avoiding direct eye contact can be equally telling. A man who averts his gaze during moments of intimacy may still feel attraction and even deep affection, but it is likely that an emotional barrier exists between him and his partner. Perhaps he fears the vulnerability that inevitably accompanies complete self-disclosure, or perhaps he is guarding a part of himself that he is not yet ready to confront. In Jungian terms, such avoidance can signal the presence of unresolved shadows, unrecognized fears or unhealed past wounds that prevent his full immersion in the relationship. It is well known that eyes cannot lie as words sometimes do. For this reason, for many people, averting their gaze becomes a means of maintaining personal control. However, when a man allows himself to establish this unbreakable deep gaze, it speaks volumes. Such an action means that he is not just trusting his partner with his body, but also revealing his true self, that innermost, imperfect, sometimes defenseless version of himself that is usually hidden beneath an outer shell. There is a perfectly understandable reason why couples in love instinctively close their eyes during a kiss, and then open them again, as if confirming the reality of the person in front of them. This brief moment of reconnection is a primal, silent affirmation. You are here with me, and I am here with you, completely and entirely. It is for this reason that deep eye contact serves as the first, and arguably the most eloquent testament to genuine emotional attachment. This phenomenon cannot be imitated or forced. It is a kind of unconscious gift, a moment when two people are in each other's presence absolutely without any masks. And in this single shared gaze, love manifests itself not through loud declarations, but through the quiet, unwavering conviction that in this space, in this special connection, there is absolutely no need to hide. The second key sign manifests as a profound preference for the partner's pleasure over one's own. In the context of Jungian psychology, genuine intimacy requires the reconciliation of opposites, meaning the fusion of two separate selves into something that transcends the mere sum of their parts. This sacred union, which Carl Jung called the chemical wedding, extends beyond ordinary physical enjoyment. It lies in the alchemy of two souls merging in a process of mutual giving. Nowhere is this more evident than in a man's approach to pleasure when he is deeply in love. If lust seeks to satisfy only one's own desires, true love seeks genuine union. When a man prioritizes another's satisfaction over his own, it is not just an act of generosity. It is an unconscious expression of the deepest devotion, an unspoken vow affirming that the other's joy is inseparable from his own. Jung suggested that the shadow, the repressed, unconscious aspects of our psyche, often guides our lower instincts, including selfish desires. However, when a man experiences deep love, something amazing happens. His higher self prevails over these primal impulses. He sets aside his own satisfaction, not out of a sense of duty, but because the very act of giving becomes the highest reward for him. This is the embodiment of the union of opposites in its purest form. The masculine drive for active pursuit harmonizes with the feminine principle of receptivity. In this delicate balance, the intimate act transforms from an ordinary transaction into something sacred, a true exchange. It will become clear to the observer how the man carefully studies the other's reactions, tenderly remembering everything that brings pleasure and finding genuine satisfaction in the other's enjoyment. His focus is not performative, it stems from the depths of his being, as if his partner's body has become an extension of his own. One need only compare such a manifestation with encounters based solely on physical attraction. Lust, as is known, consumes. It takes what it wants with little regard for the well-being of the other. Love, on the contrary, nourishes. If a man blinded by mere passion can be focused on his own pleasure, then one truly in love will find himself transformed by his companion's joy. Carl Jung would undoubtedly trace this inner shift to the influence of the anima, that inner feminine principle that guides a man toward empathy, tenderness, and a deep desire for fusion that extends beyond the purely physical. That is why the smallest actions, how he lingers after intimacy, how he genuinely asks, "Did you feel good?" with unfeigned curiosity, reveals significantly more about his true feelings than any grand gestures. This selflessness is not limited to the bedroom. Jung viewed human relationships as mirrors reflecting aspects of our personality that need to be confronted or healed. A man who can give freely in intimacy is often one who has already confronted his own shadows, fears of inadequacy, an obsessive need for control, and has emerged from this confrontation ready to serve, not to take. This vulnerability, this baring of the soul, is the hallmark of true love. It's not about perfection, but about profound presence. When he prioritizes his partner's pleasure, he silently, with his entire being, whispers what words can never fully express. You are sacred to me. Ultimately, such behavior acts as a true manifestation of deep feelings. It cannot be faked. It is natural in its pristine, innate essence. It undeniably proves that his devotion is not just superficial, it penetrates to the very core of his being, and it is there, according to the eminent psychologist Carl Jung, that the most fundamental changes in personality begin. The third sign in question is post-sexual attachment and emotional openness. The moments following physical intimacy can reveal a man's true feelings far more completely than the act itself. Carl Jung understood that physical intimacy has a unique ability to break down the psyche's defensive barriers, temporarily pacifying the inner self and allowing the depths of the subconscious to emerge. When a man is truly deeply in love, intimate relations become more than just the culmination of passion. They transform into a gateway to complete emotional nakedness. This is why behavior after the act of love is such a telling indicator. It's how he embraces, the words he shares, and the vulnerability he allows himself to show when the intensity of passion subsides. All of this is not the result of deliberate decisions, but spontaneous, subconscious manifestations of how he truly perceives her. The Jungian concept of the shadow, the unconscious, often repressed aspects of the human psyche, explains why many men struggle with showing vulnerability. Societal upbringing dictates that men equate true strength with emotional detachment, teaching them to withdraw after physical intimacy as if attachment somehow diminishes their masculinity. However, when a man loves deeply, this social conditioning is powerless. His shadow, the wounded, sensitive self he usually keeps well protected, comes to the forefront without his conscious control. He might pull her closer, contrary to his usual detachment, open up about cherished childhood memories, or simply touch foreheads in silent, soul-to-soul union. These actions are not the result of calculated maneuvers. They are a rebellion of the depths of the psyche against any masks and pretense, undeniable proof that he perceives her as a source of profound security, and not merely as an object of fleeting pleasure. The particular vulnerability that arises in the post-coital period plays a crucial psychological role. The eminent thinker Carl Jung argued that true intimacy is inconceivable without deep integration, without the merging of both the light and dark aspects of a person's personality with the essence of another individual. When a man maintains emotional engagement and presence after the act of intimacy, he is not just expressing trust, but also demonstrating a willingness to reveal his entire being, not just the manifestation of physical attraction. His almost unconscious gestures, whether a tender caress of her hair or a spontaneous revelation of a personal thought, indicate the instantaneous dropping of his defensive barriers. In such moments, all masks and games disappear, giving way to the pure, unadulterated truth of his deep attachment. A contrasting picture is presented by encounters where a man quickly withdraws immediately after the climax. While such behavior is not always irrefutable proof of complete emotional absence, this distancing often indicates that his connection with his partner remains primarily on a physical plane. The ego rushes to restore its defensive structures, regaining control of the situation that was lost in moments of complete surrender. But when a man does not rush away, when he cherishes the afterglow of intimacy as something precious, rather than an annoying distraction, he demonstrates what Carl Jung called the transcendent function, love's amazing ability to dissolve the boundaries separating two people. Ultimately, post-sexual attachment stands as the most sincere manifestation of tender feelings. It is in these silent moments, when the body is saturated with peace and the consciousness becomes vulnerable, that the heart's impulses resonate most clearly. A man who allows himself such openness is not merely sharing a bed. He is revealing the depths of his inner world. And this, according to Jung's views, is undeniable proof that his feelings significantly surpass mere desire, representing a genuine recognition of souls. The next, fourth sign is synchronized movements and unconscious mirroring. In the silent dialogue of loving hearts, the deepest truths are spoken not through words, but through the unconscious choreography of bodies moving in perfect synchronicity. Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious, that encompassing reservoir of primal memories common to all humanity, helps us understand why two deeply in love people so often unconsciously begin to move in unison. This manifests when his breath slows to match yours, when limbs intertwine without thought or effort, when a simple touch seems to convey more meaning than entire paragraphs of text. Such phenomena are not mere coincidences, but a kind of biological poetry. They serve as irrefutable proof that the connection between people has transcended conscious intention, delving into the realm of pure instinct, where the body's ancient wisdom takes precedence over the mind's calculated movements. According to Carl Gustav Jung, this phenomenon originates from a concept he called participation mystique, or mystical participation. This is a primordial state of emotional fusion where personal boundaries between individuals temporarily dissolve. In everyday life, a person usually exercises meticulous control over their own physiology, but the power of love possesses a unique ability to overcome these habitual barriers. When a man allows himself to open up emotionally, his nervous system begins to respond harmoniously to his partner's nervous system, a phenomenon known in modern science as limbic synchrony. His heart rate may subtly adapt to hers. His movements and gestures may mirror hers like an echo passing across an invisible bridge. Between their souls, this is not mere imitation, it is true unity. It is a way for the body to express what the conscious mind may still be hesitant to openly admit. We are no longer separate. The exceptional importance of this limbic synchronization becomes particularly evident during periods of deep silence. One can observe how, when together in quiet intimacy, two people can simultaneously change their body position or sigh in unison. Such subtle moments serve as compelling evidence that their interaction functions at a significantly more fundamental level than ordinary social interaction. This is truly a biological dance, whose patterns are embedded in the very structure of human DNA. Jung would likely argue that this phenomenon embodies the archetype of the divine couple, manifesting here and now. This timeless symbol of absolute wholeness is found in the mythologies of diverse cultures worldwide. Individuals' bodies literally retain the memory of what their consciousness may have already repressed, that love, in its highest manifestation, is a return to primordial unity. In contrast, consider the constrained self-conscious movements characteristic of casual encounters where each person acutely feels their separateness. In such interactions, lacking deep emotional investment, the body maintains its guardedness and every movement remains strictly measured and calculated. Consequently, genuine synchronization rarely occurs. However, when genuine love is present in a relationship, the need for such constant vigilance completely disappears. His hand intuitively finds his partner's lower back precisely when support is needed. The other person's head comfortably settles into the curve of his shoulder, as if that spot was created specifically for it. Such effortless and natural alignment is a physical manifestation of what the distinguished psychologist Jung called enantiodromia, the fundamental tendency of opposites to move toward each other. Striving to create a harmonious balance, what gives these unconscious movements such profound intimacy is their absolute authenticity. Unlike spoken declarations which can be carefully thought out, formulated or strictly controlled, the language of bodily love cannot be faked or falsified. When one body moves in silent harmony with another, it becomes the purest expression of recognition from his psyche. You are not a stranger, but an extension, not just an object, but a true home. In these silent moments, Jung's theories cease to be mere abstract concepts and transform into a living, palpable truth. In the alchemy of genuine connection, two separate beings can momentarily touch the divine unity from which, it is believed, we all originated. It is for this reason that synchronous movement remains one of the most ancient and sacred dances of love, a kind of primal ritual. Its choreography is created not by conscious will or deliberate effort, but by timeless wisdom emanating from the depths of the unconscious mind. Carl Jung, the eminent Swiss psychiatrist, viewed the phenomenon of love significantly deeper than just a fleeting emotion or an artificially created social mechanism. For him, this event represented the deepest psychological phenomenon, effectively a collision between the conscious and unconscious realms of the human mind. Central to his extensive theoretical system is the unique concept of the anima and animus, internal, often hidden, feminine and masculine archetypal aspects inherent in every individual. According to Jung, every man contains within himself an inner feminine archetypal image called the anima. This image is formed under the influence of his personal life experiences, his subconscious expectations, and even deeply ingrained cultural patterns. When a man experiences a deep feeling of being in love, his attraction extends beyond a mere interest in a specific woman. In reality, he encounters a mirror reflection of his own inner essence, his deep self. It is for this reason that a suitable partner does not just evoke admiration or seem intriguing. She gives the impression of being surprisingly familiar, as if she has always been an integral part of his existence. The more intense and powerful the emotional attraction becomes, the more fully his inner anima resonates and harmonizes with her true essence, giving rise to an almost transcendent sense of recognition. This also explains why some forms of attachment seem predestined, as if their course was predetermined in the celestial bodies, because in a certain sense they were indeed imprinted in his own psyche long before these two people first met. However, such projection represents only the starting point on the path to true unity. Genuine intimacy, according to Jung, requires something far deeper and riskier, a willingness to shed the protective facades that people habitually wear in everyday life. Society often teaches men to suppress their sensitivity, forming a kind of emotional shield to protect against possible judgment or disapproval. Nevertheless, when a man experiences a deep and sincere feeling of being in love, a fundamental internal transformation occurs. The unconscious mind, that vast, hidden realm of the human psyche where deep instincts, ingrained fears, and intimate desires are stored, gradually begins to break through the personality's usual defense mechanisms. In such moments, he doesn't just want to be near, he feels an urgent, almost primal need for it. This is why one can notice subtle, but absolutely unmistakable changes in his behavior when his emotional attachment reaches significant depth. He might, for instance, begin to share childhood memories completely spontaneously, without any external prompting, or his body language might soften in a way he himself cannot control. These manifestations are not the result of deliberate decisions, they represent an involuntary surrender to the overwhelming power of his emotional connection. Jung also argued that the unconscious manifests itself most clearly precisely in moments of deep intimacy, expressing itself not only through words but also through symbols, bodily sensations, and instinctive reactions. Recall how loving couples sometimes synchronize their breathing, or how a man's touch acquires an almost reverent quality when his emotions completely overwhelm him. These are not just ordinary romantic gestures, they are powerful manifestations of the unconscious mind, which subtly intertwines the destinies of two people, uniting them into a single whole. In the Jungian sense, love appears as a true alchemical process. It is capable of transforming the ordinary, base metal of physical attraction into the pure gold of deep spiritual unity. When a man is truly consumed by this feeling, his unconscious will inevitably give him away, manifesting itself in the most beautiful and undeniable ways. The question arises, how? Does this hidden deep psychology reveal itself in such an intimate setting as the bedroom? The answer lies in 4 unmistakable forms of behavior, actions so intimate and telling that they completely bypass the control of the conscious mind. These are not the result of cunning tricks or acquired skills. Rather, they are the raw, unfiltered language of a man's heart, speaking for itself. Now it is time to examine these 4 intimate behavioral manifestations that clearly reveal his true feelings in more detail. These 4 unconscious manifestations, penetrating eye contact, unconditional selfless giving, vulnerability after physical intimacy, and synchronized movements, form the silent yet eloquent language of a man's devotion. The wisdom bequeathed to us by Carl Jung constantly reminds us that love is never just a fleeting emotion. It is an embodied truth, etched in the most unprotected and sincere moments shared between two people. If your partner demonstrates these signs of deep and genuine love, you are not merely sharing a physical connection. You are sharing a far more profound psychological and spiritual bond that extends well beyond the ordinary and mundane.